All right, welcome to another game of On Base Baseball. My name is Brian Hafferkamp. I'm the designer and creator of On Base. In this game, we are going to start our National League Division Series. So the NLDS gets started. It's going to be Miami at Atlanta. Miami upset Philadelphia in the wild card round, and Atlanta had the number one seed. So we're going to play this game out. It was played on October the... Oh. It was played October 7th. Sorry about that. I have both games here. So this one, I knew the date was wrong. October 7th was game one, and we're going to play the first game out. The lineups are going to stay the same, but the pitching matchup is different. So let's get going on this one. For the Marlins, who are visiting, it's going to be Arise leading off. He's batting left-handed, and it's Soler in the DH spot. He is hitting second. Josh Bell, the switch-hitting first baseman, is third. Jazz Chisholm Jr., left-hand hitting center fielder, former second baseman. So I made the move to the outfield in 2023 to a very good defensive rating, by the way. So quick learner. Jake Berger, who was a mid-season pickup, he'll play third base. De La Cruz is in right. Jesus Sanchez, says Brian De La Cruz. Jesus Sanchez is the right fielder. He's batting left-handed and hitting seventh. John Birdie, a longtime Marlin. He will be playing shortstop and hitting eighth. And Nick Fortes will be starting at catcher. For the pitcher for the Marlins is going to be Luzardo. He's a lefty. He can go 23 batters, and he's a 369 Sierra, so he's in this column over here. For the Braves, it's going to be Acuna Jr. leading off. Austin Riley is at third. He is going to be hitting second. Matty Olson is left-handed first baseman batting third. Ozzie Albies, switch-hitting second baseman, is the cleanup man. Marcell Ozuna at DH. Robert Harris, the second, is in center field. Orlando Arcia is at shortstop. He's a right-handed batter. The catcher is Murphy in this game. And the left fielder getting the start for Eddie Rosario is Kevin Pillar. Snicker was always sort of platooning Pillar against left-handed bats because he just crushes lefties. So Pillar is going to be in the game here. Game two is going to be Braxton Garrett. And Pillar will get the start in that game as well. But we got Eddie coming off the bench, so a nice bench option, left-handed bat for the Braves. So we'll see if that comes into play in this game or in the series. All right, so let's get this one started. On the mound is Spencer Strider, so a young pitcher. I want to say he's 22, 23, something like that. Right-handed pitcher, 24 is his stamina, so his stamina is a little bit more this year than last year. And 286 is his Sierra, so here in the first column. Strider, you can expect many strikeouts. Be surprised if he's not in that 10 plus strikeout range. Seemed like every game he was doing that, but he led the league in strikeouts this year. Top 5 Cy Young candidate probably. All right, so the Braves lost 3 games to 1 against the Phillies. So let's see how it goes here. I'm hoping for a little bit of a different story against the Marlins, but who knows? It's a tabletop, right? The Marlins have already surprised Philadelphia. Very powerful offense. But when you look down this lineup, 64 batting runs for Acuna, 30 plus is our column here, by the way. 24 for Riley, 54 for Olson, 20 for Albies, 29 for Ozuna. So your first 5 batters are coming out of these first 2 columns. And then Murphy also hitting out of the third column. And the best that the Marlins have, they have 2 guys coming out of this third column right here. So I expect a lot of runs. Don't know what's going to happen. Luzardo, good pitcher though. Pitched well in game 1. So for Strider, he's going to go out and he's going to take the mound at home at Truist Park against Arise, Soler, and Josh Bell. So Rise up first, 45 to him is going to be a base hit as he hits one over the second baseman's head into short right field. And Rise is on at first. He's not a real threat to steal, especially with Soler up there. And just like that, back-to-back hits as Soler puts one right up the middle. They both hit out of the same column, so a 45 there is going to be a base hit as well. No, just going to go station to station there. So Josh Bell to the plate. A 14 to Bell is going to be a hit by pitch or a walk. That's going to be a walk. And just like that, Spencer Strider in some hot water here in the first. Now he's got the strikeout weapon. Let's see if it comes to bear here against Jazz Chisholm. A 16, that's going to be a fly out, but it says a fly out with a runner advance. So that means that the lead runner is going to advance. Actually, all runners are going to advance. So that's going to be a sac fly. That's going to go down the right field line, so deep into the right field corner. Making the play is Acuna, and everybody is going to move up. So that's going to score our first run of the game. The Marlins take a 1-0 lead on the sacrifice fly from Jazz Chisholm Jr. All right, so we got runners at second and third, and one out, with Jake Berger coming to the plate. Berger absolutely destroyed the Philadelphia Phillies in the first round. 46, that's going to be a strikeout. There's no double play situation, so going to take the strikeout there. And now Strider is one out away from getting out of this one. De La Cruz a -7. He's going to be in this final column over here. A 15 is going to be a single with an error check. So it's a single up the middle. We're going to check the error on Michael Harris II. No error. But a single is going to score 2. And just like that, all the base runners who were on base are going to come in. So at 2 outs, I give the runners an extra base. So normally they would just move up 1. But here they're going to move up 2. So Brian De La Cruz clears the bags with a 2-out base hit. Brings up Sanchez. Sanchez with a fly ball. This one's going to go out to straightaway center field. Michael Harris on the run backwards. Turns his back to the infield, and he makes a nice running catch. And that'll be out of it. But 3 runs in the first for the Marlins puts Atlanta in a pretty good hole as they come up to bat for the first time. It's going to be Acuna, Riley, and Olsen. 36 to Acuna. He's out of this first column, so 36 is going to be a fly ball. That goes down the right field line. Hit well, but it's going to stay in the park. And that is out number 1 as Sanchez makes the catch in right field. Brings up Austin Riley. Another fly ball. Another deep one down the left field line as he turns around on it. Going into the corner is the left fielder De La Cruz, and he makes a nice running catch at the wall. And that one narrowly avoided being a home run. 2 flyouts, 2 long flyouts. And now Matty Olson to the plate. A 34. This one might actually be parked. We'll see. A 34. Oh, it's going to be a fly out. So this time it goes to center field. So they hit a fly ball to every field in the first. And I have a feeling some of those are going to go out at some point. We'll see. It's 3-0. The Marlins over the Braves. Go to the top of the second inning. 26 is going to be a strikeout as Spencer Strider gets his first one. That's a strikeout looking. Puts the bender on him. And that's going to be out number 1. Birdie goes down. Brings up Nick Fortes. Fortes gets under this one. It's a fly out to right center field. And that's going to be no problem out there for the center fielder Harris, who puts it away for out number 2. Back to the top of the order with Luis Arraez. A 36 to Arraez is going to be a fly ball. And that goes out to straightaway right field. Ronald didn't even have to move. Played him perfectly. And that's a 1-2-3 inning for Spencer Strider. Strider gets his second K of the game and holds the fish to no runs. 3-0 is our scores. We go to the bottom of the second inning. For the Braves, it'll be Albies, Ozuna, and Harris. Albie stands in. There's a fly ball. That's to straightaway center field. Jazz Chisholm is there. And he'll make the catch for out number 1. Brings up Marcell Ozuna. Ozuna, 29 batting runs. He had 40 home runs. Just in May or April they were thinking about cutting him. And then from May to the end of the year, one of the best hitters, one of the top DHs in all of baseball. 35. That's going to be a strikeout. And he'll strike out looking as Luzardo gets his first K. That's out number 2, and that'll bring up Michael Harris, the second young center fielder. He also had a rough start, but picked up the pace as he moved along the season. 15 is going to be a ground out that's hit hard, but right to the first baseman. He'll toss to to the pitcher catching, to the pitcher covering. That'll be out number 3. Sorry, it's early in the morning. It's 5 in the morning. You know, I get up early to do these things. Sometimes the old brain isn't working, even after 2 cups of coffee. So, 3-0 is our score. We head to the top of the 3rd. The Marlins take the lead into the 3rd inning, and it's going to be Soler, Bell, and Jazz Chisholm. 26, that's another K, as Strider freezes Soler, and that's going to be out number 1. 16, Bell gets wood on it, but he gets under it as he lifts it to right center field. Batting left-handed against the righty Strider. He hits this one out. Ronald Acuna comes over into the gap, and he'll make the play for out number 1. Jazz Chisholm with the sac fly in his first at bat led to the first of the Miami runs. Here he's going to knock a single right up the middle. A little bouncer, right up the middle. Bleeds through into center field, and he'll be on at first base. Let's go ahead and try to steal with him. 2 outs, and maybe Berger can knock him in. 1-7, he'll be safe. Oh, he just gets under the tag, and that's going to be a stolen base. So Chisholm gets himself in scoring position, brings up Jake Berger. Berger with the foul out. So he's going to foul out, and that goes to 9. We'll say he hits it down the line. Coming over into foul territory is Ronald Acuna, and he races in and makes the play in foul territory. We're going to say foul out 9, and that's going to be all she wrote. So down goes Miami in the 3rd as they strand a runner in scoring position. And we're headed to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Miami up 3-0 over Atlanta. Atlanta sends up the bottom 3, Arcia, Murphy, and Pilar. 35 to Arcia is going to be a strikeout as he swings through slide piece and can't get it. Sean Murphy, one of the best catchers in baseball, he is going to be a victim of a strikeout as well as he swings through a fastball. Checks his bat to make sure there's still not a hole in it as he misses that one. And Kevin Pillar stands in. He's a lefty killer. Here he's a -7 batting runs though, so he's in this last column over here. So 36 is going to be a fly out, and he flies out down the left field line. Coming into the line is going to be De La Cruz, and he makes the catch and continues running on to the dugout as that's the 3rd out of the inning. 3-0 is our score as we head to the top of the 4th. Braves offense yet to get a hit, and Spencer Strider with the little rough waters here in the 1st has settled down effectively. It'll be De La Cruz, Sanchez, and Birdie. 35 to a -7 is going to be a strikeout, and that is another K for Spencer Strider. That's number 1, 2, 3, 4 for the game, and that'll be 1 out. And brings up Sanchez to the plate, left-handed batter, 4 batting runs in 2023. He's going to hit this one into the ground, and that is a little chopper to short. The shortstop is Arcia. Strong throw to first, gets Sanchez, no problem. and brings up John Birdie with 2 outs. Birdie struck out in his last at bat. He's going to suffer the same fate here as he strikes out looking for the second time. 5 Ks for Spencer Strider, and another 1-2-3 inning as he cruises through the 4th. 3-0 is our score. Braves hoping. Sorry about that. The Braves are they're hoping to get it going here as they come back through the second time through the lineup. It'll be Acuna, Riley, and Olson in the 4th. 35 to Acuna. That'll be a walk, so that's a good sign. And you know what Ronald is doing. 73 stolen bases on the year, so 1-7, he'll be safe. It's a 5, and he's in there no problem. So his first stolen base of the postseason. That's going to bring up Riley. Riley flied out in his last at bat. This time he is going to take a walk. That puts runners at first and second, and a dangerous position to be in with the Major League home run leader, Matty Olson, coming to the plate. 54 bombs, almost 140 RBIs. 25 is going to be a fly out. That's going to go to right center field. This will be a check on the center fielder to see if he makes an error. It's Jazz Chisholm. And Chisholm is he's a plus fielder, so that's a good thing. 2 would have been an error for a minus fielder, but he makes the play in center field. And let's go ahead and roll to see if Ronald gets to third. A 1-7, he'll be safe at third. Oh man, and he gets thrown out. So he gets cut down at third. We're gonna go 8-2 or 8-5 as Jazz Chisholm throws a seed. Matty Olson's gonna stay, or Riley's gonna stay, and that brings up Ozzie Albies. Man, that was killer. So a fly out to left center field. That's going to be no problem for De La Cruz, and he'll make the third out. And just like that, Braves had something. Tried a little something to get to third base with 1 out, and Acuna gets thrown out. Only a 22% chance of him getting thrown out. All right. I don't know how this is going to go. All right, so Fortis is up, and then back to Arise and Soler. That's going to be a fly ball to right field. No problem for Acuna as he makes the play in right. Kind of deep right field, but he'll make the play. Arise is up. He is going to strike out. Arise is now 1 for 3 as he strikes out swinging. He gets the high gas and can't lay off of it. Brings up Jorge Soler. Soler 1 for 2 with a strikeout. 45, that's going to make him 2 for 3 as he hits a single past the shortstop. And Soler now at first base with 2 down. And Josh Bell to the plate. Bell with a walk already. Flied out in his last at bat. He's going to ground out here to the second baseman. Let's do an error check on Ozzie Albies. Albies going to his left into short right field. He spins, he throws, and he makes the play at first. And that's a nice play to end the inning as the Marlins strand a runner at first. So thankfully, Miami is not doing much either after that first inning. And the door is open for the Braves. They just need to get those hits. It's going to be Ozuna, Harris, and Arcia up first. 56 to a 29 is going to be a walk to Ozuna as he shows some patience. And he's on first with nobody out. Michael Harris the second up to bat. A 13 is going to be a ground ball to shortstop. They're going to get the first out at second base, and that's going to be a 6-4 fielder's choice as Harris beats out the throw to first. A little 3-hopper to shortstop, and just couldn't turn it at second base. So Harris, let's go ahead and take off with Harris. 1-6, he's going to be safe. And he's in there with the stolen base. So Harris in scoring position now for Orlando Arcia. Arcia, a man who would come up with big hits throughout the season, but not going to get a big hit here as a 35 is going to be a strikeout. He swings and misses. That's his second K of the day. 2 down now, but a runner in scoring position. A base hit will score 1. So let's see if Murphy can put one somewhere into play. 22, that'll be a double off of the pitcher's column. So that's a double into the left center field gap. That'll score Michael Harris a second from second base. And the Braves are on the board. They cut the lead to 3-1. Kevin Pillar up now. 55 to Pillar is going to be a line out, and that is a line out to the shortstop. That'll be out number 3. But the Braves do dent the scoreboard. It's 3-1, and Miami takes the 3-1 lead into the 6th inning. We've got 18, 19, 20, 21. Spencer Strider can go 24 before we have to make any adjustments, so he's good there. 45 to Jazz Chisholm. That's going to be a fly ball to right center field. It's laced, but out in right center field is Ronald Acuna as he runs it down in the gap, and nice play there. Saved extra bases. It's going to be Jake Berger to the plate. Berger 0 for 2. He's going to be 0 for 3 here as he flies out to straightaway center field. Pretty deep onto the warning track. Michael Harris is waiting for it, and he makes the catch for out number 2. Brings up Brian De La Cruz. De La Cruz is 1 for 2. He's got a 14, and a 14 is going to be a walk. So 2-out walk to De La Cruz. He is pretty slow at first base, so no threat to steal. And Jesus Sanchez stands in. That's a ground ball to third base. We're going to do an error check on Riley. 10 is nothing. 4 is a catch and throw to first. Nice throw. And he took that little one hopper and olayed it. Got the throw to first. And that's out number 3. So the Fish strand another runner at first. And we head to the top or bottom of the 6th inning. It's going to be 3-1 Miami. We're looking for a little late offense here from the Braves. They are going to be going through their lineup for the 3rd time. So let's see if Luzardo can navigate this. He's only at 18 batters. He can go 23 for the game. This is already going to be trouble. 34. Oh, it's going to be a fly out. So a can of corn to center field as Ronald Acuna just misses that one. Jazz Chisholm pulls it in for out number 1. And it'll be Austin Riley to the plate. If only those 2 roles had been switched. A 45 for Acuna is a home run. A 34 for Riley would have been a home run. But as it is, it's going to be a base knock. And that base hit goes straight up the middle. A little line drive. Splits short and third. And Riley is on at first with Matty Olson coming to the plate. Olson with a fly ball. That goes out to, that was a 6. Fly ball to center field, deep center field. It's got Jazz Chisholm going back. He makes a beautiful play at the wall. But it's going to allow the runner to move up. And that's going to be 2 outs in the inning. As it was high and deep to center field, gave Riley a chance to move up. And that's going to be Albies to the plate with a runner in scoring position. Base hit. Drives one in. A 33 could be better than a base hit. 33 to a 20 is going to be a 2-bagger as he laces one just inside the right field line. Rattles around in the corner. Albies thinks about 3, but he stops at second base for 1. And that cuts the lead to 1 as the Braves are chipping away at this thing. And now they're only down by 1. A base hit here will score another run and tie the ball game. Let's see what Ozuna's got. 45. That's going to be a base hit just past the shortstop as he dies, but he can't make the play. And that'll be another RBI. And just like that, the Braves have squared it away at 3. 3-3 is our score now with Ozuna at first base. We are in the bottom of the 6th inning, and Robert Harris II stands in. A 66 to a 10 is going to be a long single. And for Robert Harris, that long single is a hit down the left field line. He's going to turn that into a double because his speed is a 6. and that's going to make Ozuna go to third. So we got runners at second and third, and I'm inclined to let Luzardo get out of this. He only needs one out, but a base hit is going to break this one open. A 46 is going to be a strikeout. So Luzardo does come through as he gets Arcia swinging, and that'll be the third out of the inning. Excuse me, but the Braves do put 2 on the board. They've tied it at 3, and we have a brand new ball game. So we're at 27, 26, 25. So we're past Strider's stamina. We're past Luzardo's stamina, and we're about to get into the bullpen. For Strider, he only has to go down this one column. So we're going to let him out there. He's in the ball game. Maybe the Braves can punch one in. He can get a scoreless inning and get the win. We'll see. So he goes out there for the 7th inning. No strikeout there. So that changes some of the equation here. For Birdie, a 56 is going to be a strikeout anyway, as he is caught looking on a curveball. And that's out number 1. So 1 down with Nick Fortis coming to the plate. Fortis the catcher for Miami. And 11 is going to be another strikeout, this time looking as well. And Strider's got it going here in the 7th inning. 2 down with Arise coming to the plate. That's the best way to be with Arise coming to the plate. Nobody on. Yeah, 2 down. All right, so a 36. 36 is going to be a fly ball. That goes out to right center field. And it'll be Acuna in right field as he ranges over to make the catch. 3 up, 3 down. Go the Fish in the 7th. They've been awfully quiet since the 3-run first inning. And we got the Braves coming up. I'm going to bring in a new pitcher for Luzardo, as he would have to go down to this 3rd column. All right, the new pitcher for the Marlins is going to be JT Chargois. I guess that's how you say it, Chargois. Chargois. Don't know how you would say that, French. He is going to replace Luzardo, who got the start. 6 innings, 5 hits, only 3 runs allowed, 2 walks and 5 Ks. So more than a pedestrian start for him, as he held the Braves scoreless up until those last couple of innings. In fact, he had a 1-2-3 first time through the lineup. So good start for the Marlins, and has kept them in this one. It's 3-3. Replacing him is Chargois, I guess. I'm going to go with Chargois, but I don't know how that's how you say it. Right-handed pitcher, 4 batters he can face. 436 is his Sierra, so he's here. He is going to face off against the bottom of the Atlanta order. He'll have to go against Ronald Acuna. We'll see how this goes. He has to at least make it through Acuna. But I'm rolling the dice with him. Metaphorically and quite literally. All right, so this is going to be a 26 to Murphy. 26 to Murphy. That's a single with an error check. So it's a single to center field. The error check is on the center fielder, Chisholm. And that's going to be a base hit. Ominous start here as Pilar stands in. Actually, you know what? We're going to get this is a good chance to bring in Eddie. Eddie. Let me do that. Let me just get him into the game. All right, so Rosario comes in to play left. He'll be facing off against the right-hander. He's got a runner at first base and nobody out. And let's see what he does. That's an upgrade from column 4 to column 3, so we'll see if that makes any difference. A 26. 26 is going to be a ground out, so that doesn't make any difference there. That's a ground out to second base. They're going to take the easy play at second. No chance to get Eddie at first, and so that's going to be 4-6 on the put out. Eddie a 4 speed, so we traded a little bit of speed for a better bat. Now it's going to bring up Ronald Acuna Jr. Chargois trying to run the run the gauntlet here. 56 to him. That's going to be a walk. And the Marlins are going to go back to the pen. They were really hoping that he could get through these 3 batters, but we got a runner, 2 runners on, and 1 out. and so he's faced his minimum of 3. And so we're going to get somebody from the first column probably into the game. Alright, so it's Tanner Scott coming into the game, left-handed pitcher. He has a 2.66 Sierra, so he'll be pitching out of this first column. Sort of roll the dice with Chargois there to see if he can maybe get through the bottom of the order, but he has allowed a single and a walk. And at this point, 2 runners on, 1 out, and you're facing Austin Riley and Olson for the next 2 batters. The Marlins want to have the best that they can throw out there at them, short of going to their actual closer, which would be AJ Puk. But 12 saves for this guy, Scott. So, sort of a 8th inning guy, high leverage. So this is about as high leverage as it gets in the playoffs, tied at 3 in the bottom of the 7th inning with 2 on and 1 out. So the Braves are going to send up Austin Riley. Riley is 1 for 2. He's got a walk and a single in his last at bat. And let's see if he can come through with the big hit here, and he does. A 22 is going to be a blank there, but for Austin Riley, a 22 is a double or a triple if it's a 7 on the D10. It's not a 7. That would be a 7, 8, or 9. So that's going to be a 2-bagger. Driven to the gap in left field, it 1-hops the wall. That's going to score this runner from second. And this runner here goes to third. Ronald Acuna, they're sending him home. Wash says, "Go, young man." So 1 to 7, he's going to be safe at the plate. The relay, the throw is late, and they cannot get Ronald coming home. And that's going to be a 2 RBI double for Austin Riley, and he puts the Braves up 5 to 3. Big hit from the big man, and that's going to bring up Matty Olson. 35 to Olson is going to be a walk, and so that'll put runners at first and second base with only 1 out still. Albies to the plate. These guys just keep coming. The word that you heard all the time was relentless, and they just keep sending up guys from these first 2 columns, and it's just, you know, it's tough. But Scott is up to the challenge here. Not impossible to strike him out, as he gets the K here, although they have cut down their strikeout percentage significantly up and down the lineup. Brings up Ozuna now with 2 outs and 2 on. A 46 is going to be another strikeout looking, as Tanner Scott bears down, and he gets Miami out of the inning. They do give up 2 runs, so the score is now 5 to 3, and we head to the top of the 8th inning. Spencer Strider still in the game. We're going to get a new pitcher for Atlanta. All right, a new pitcher for Atlanta is going to be AJ Minter. Lefty, can go 4 batters, 306 Sierra, so he'll be out of this first column. And he's coming in to preserve a 2-run lead. Spencer Strider, he goes 7 innings. Very much a quality start. He gives up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 hits, 3 runs. He did have 2 walks, but he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Ks. And he is in line for the win, so we left him out there for 1 more inning, hoping the Braves could score. They did, and so he is set up for the win. It is no, the Braves scored so those 2 runs should be charged to Chargois, we'll say. It's charged to him, not to Tanner Scott. So it's going to be Soler, Bell, and Chisholm Jr. against the lefty Minter. I'm always a little bit worried and nervous about Minter, but here he gets a strikeout. He strikes out Soler looking. Soler was thinking slider, and he got the fastball on the corner. They were teammates in 2021, remember? So Soler now 2 for 4 with a couple Ks, couple walks. And up to the plate is going to be Josh Bell. They'll turn Bell around to the right side. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. He's going to wind up being 0 for 3 here as he hits a fly ball. Down the left field line. Coming over to get it is the newly inserted Eddie Rosario. Rosario now in left for Pilar, who got the start against the left-handed pitcher. Jazz Chisholm, last chance in the 8th inning for the Marlins. Come on. 15 to Chisholm is going to be a base knock right up the middle as he gets around on the slider, and that'll be a base knock for Chisholm. Chisholm going to take off for second. 1-7. He's going to be safe. He's trying to get himself into scoring position, cut into this lead. A 9 means that he is thrown out by Murphy. And that's going to be the 3rd out of the inning as they run themselves out of the 8th. Whew. They really only have 1 or 2 guys who are going to try to steal a base and get themselves into scoring position. And a great throw from Murphy. Murphy, one of the best catchers in the business, as he guns him down. For Scott, Scott can go 1, 2, 3, 4. He can go 4. I suppose no need to burn him out here. We're going to bring in someone for the 8th for the Marlins. All right, for the Marlins, it will be Nardi, Andrew Nardi, coming in, left-handed pitcher. He can go 4 batters. He's got a 3.18 Sierra, so he'll be out of this first column. He'll be replacing Tanner Scott. Scott went 2/3 of an inning, gave up 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, and had 2 strikeouts, back-to-back strikeouts of Albies and Ozuna to end the threat in the 7th inning. The Braves have a 5-3 lead. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, bottom of the 8th inning. And Nardi is coming in to keep the game close. He had 3 saves in 2023, not one of their primary setup men. And they need him to act like a closer right here and shut down the bottom half of this offense. It's Harris, Arcia, and Murphy. Michael Harris is going to bounce out to the shortstop. The shortstop is Birdie. He gets it across the diamond, gets him by 3/4 of a step. And that's going to be out number 1, as Harris now 1 for 4. Arcia stands in. He's got the hat trick, and he is going to add a golden sombrero as he strikes out swinging. Not his day. 4 Ks on the day for Orlando Arcia. And Murphy stands in. He's had a nice day, 2 for 4 with an RBI, single and a double. And he's going to add a fly out to that as he flies out to straightaway right field. Kind of deep, but it's going to stay playable in the park. And in right field is Sanchez. He'll make the catch for out number 3. 3 up, 3 down for the Braves in the 8th inning. And it's Raisel Iglesias time as he comes in for the save. All right, Iglesias on for the last 3 outs of this one, as he'll face off against Berger, De La Cruz, and Sanchez. Iglesias, a right-handed pitcher, can go 4 batters, and he's been pitching out of this first column, 306 Sierra. And that's one thing the Braves have an advantage, not just a hitting advantage, but the bullpen advantage. They just keep throwing guys at you there in these first 2 columns. And it's going to be tough. You know, it's going to be tough to beat them. But obviously the Phillies did. And, you know, I don't know exactly what happened there. If they played 10 times, I don't know that what happened this year would happen. Hopefully not, but we'll see. It's Iglesias facing Jake Berger first. Berger quiet in this one. He was not quiet in the first series as he was hitting bombs left and right. But even if he hits one here, it's still going to be a 1-run game. So Iglesias has a couple runs to play with, and he doesn't need it here as he gets him on the slide piece. And that's going to be a swinging strikeout for out number 1. Berger goes down for the 4th time in this game. De La Cruz, 1 for 2. He has a walk and a single. He's going to add another walk here, I think. De La Cruz, a 44. That's actually going to be a base knock, a long single. He's only got a 3 speed, so he's going to stay at first base. But that's a base hit down the line. And getting over to it is Ronald Acuna. and he keeps him to a single. De La Cruz doesn't want to run on that arm. Brings up Sanchez. One swing of the bat could tie the game, or a swing of the bat could be a miss, which is what happens. So that's going to be another strikeout for Iglesias. He gets him on the fastball, up and in. 1 out away, the Braves are from a 5-3 win. It's going to be John Birdie to the plate. Birdie hits it hard, and he hits it deep. Going back to the wall, to the track, is going to be Ronald Acuna, and he makes the catch over his shoulder, and that is going to end the ball game as the Braves win this one 5-3 over the Marlins. The Marlins put up a 3 spot in the first inning, but were blanked the rest of the way through. I will put together the totals, and we'll come back and close this one out. All right, back with the totals in this one. 3 runs on 8 hits and no errors for Miami. And then for the hometown Braves, who win this one 5-3, it's 5 runs on 7 hits and no errors. So clean game defensively played by both teams. Our player of the game is going to be Austin Riley. Riley 2 for 3 with a walk, and he had the RBI, the 2 RBI double in the 7th inning. Those were the go-ahead and turned out to be winning runs eventually. Nice game here from De La Cruz, who was 2 for 3 as well with a couple of RBIs. Couple of hits for Soler, but not much else going on. Luzardo gets a no decision as he left with the game tied. Chargois is the one who takes the loss. He gave up the 2-run double to Austin Riley, and getting the win is Spencer Strider, as he stayed in the game long enough to make it through that 7th inning. Mentor gets the hold and Iglesias the save, and that is going to be it for game number 1, as the ATL takes the 1-0 lead in this one. And game 2 is already set up. I think I put game 1 here. That's what threw me off. Game 2 is already set up. We're going to have Max Fried, and he'll face off against Braxton Garrett, and that will be played and released the next day. So so that is game 1. Game 1 goes to Atlanta. This is being played with the On-Base Baseball tabletop cards and dice baseball game. I'm using the roster sheet set that you can see here, which features all of the stats for players. It has every player that got into a game, whether it's a pitcher or a batter in the major leagues. So you get I don't know, it's something like 1,800 plus players that you can play with. Do an entire replay of the season if you want to, replay the playoffs or a specific round or the World Series, whatever you want to do. I did remember to bring some cards down this time, so I'm playing with the roster sheet set, but I also include carded. All those players that you see here, all these players here, are actually going to be carded as well. So if you prefer to play with cards, we have the cards here. And I've just printed mine out on pieces of paper here, but you can see. Let's try to get a batter card. Here's Eddie Rosario. So we got a pitcher card here, and you can see that it corresponds to what we have here. So here we have all of our columns for the pitcher. Max Fried is in this column here. Eddie Rosario, I think, is in this column here. But basically we've just taken these results and we put it right onto the card. So it's the same columns. Excuse me, it's the same data. It's just put right onto the card, and the way you play is when you roll, you look at the pitcher card first. If it's one of these, if you rolled an 11 or a 33 or a 56, you would take that result without going to the batter card at all. So the pitcher does modify the at-bat. If it's a blank, then you would go over to the batter card. So you can see, instead of a strikeout, or instead of a single for Rosario, that would be a strikeout on an 11. So you can see how the batter modifies the results. And so the batter card, you would go, if it's a blank, you go over here and you just read the number. This changes if the player goes past his stamina rating, which is here. So if he gets past 24 batters and then he starts an inning past 24 batters, then you would bump him down one column. So basically, the first time he goes past 24, you go from this first column, and now he should pitch that inning out of the second column. So stamina works pretty easily. You could also come up with something a little bit more exotic yourself if you wanted to. But each of these players, they have their name, how they bat, their primary position. So he played most of the games sort of scattered all over. He did play left field mostly, but he could play all over. This is 2022, by the way, so just to take note, this isn't the 2023 cards, but all the cards are laid out exactly the same except for the year down here. And then you can see his batting runs, his defense, and his speed. So you can write them onto the score sheet if you want to, or you can play straight off of here and then just have their name and position, how they bat, right off here. A lot of times I just put their name and position just to easily reference their position for a defensive check. You could even write in their defensive check. It's just a plus or minus for me here, which is all that matters to me, is whether it's above 0 or below 0. So got all these results here, and then you can just play through the cards. So you can see here I'm doing a Max Fried replay, so I have all the players all set out, right? And you know, William Contreras on there from last year. Excellent rookie year. Now plays for Milwaukee, which we'll see in the second series. So the second NLDS series is going to be Milwaukee at LA, so the Dodgers, and that should be a good one. So those are the cards, but I've been playing with the roster sheet sets, and with the roster sheets you play with this game engine chart. Now I have multiple game engine charts, and they're sort of contextualized for different decades. So I have one for the 90s and the 80s and the 70s, 60s, and so on. And what I've done is basically taken those columns. I've averaged out I've done it just the exact same way that I do the modern one, just looking at the statistics from the league for those different columns of players, and then created a game engine chart that takes the aggregate of those decades, which seems like a good way to me. A lot of the shifts have happened at the decade change, or maybe one or 2 years, you know, into it. So it doesn't feel like there's a big jarring discrepancy in the middle of a decade where you had like a heavy pitching decade, and then like 1966 became the big hitting decade or something like that. So a lot of those changes, they happen as the decade was changing, so it doesn't really feel like a lot of things are jarring to take it decade by decade. So that's what I've done, and you can actually download those for free at clarkandaddisongaming.com, and then look up free resources. You can go to the baseball tab at the top, and then you can look for any free resources. You can go to the shop all the games, the big green button at the top right, and then on that all games page where you can shop everything that we have, on the left side there's a free tab or a free link, and you can just click on that and it'll filter all the free resources. You'll find the game engine charts there and the free resources. And you can, you know, it's kind of cool to take modern players and put them in the 1940s or the 1960s or whatever, you know, whatever your favorite decade is. 30 batting runs players will have fewer home runs, and some of these are going to change. They're going to be fewer strikeouts, that type of thing, even for the top end pitchers. So kind of fun to mix and match and play those. The beauty of playing on-base baseball is it uses sabermetric values. So all of these values that you see here for Sierra, which is what we're using for the pitchers, but when you look at a card like Ronald Acuna, in 2022 he was a 9 batting runs. 9 batting runs plays all across Major League Baseball history. So the attempt here is to create a 9 batting runs player is going to be equivalent across decades, because batting runs even takes into account these are ballpark adjusted, they're era adjusted. So they're trying to level out any sort of well, this guy played in this era, so that's totally different than this. So they're trying to adjust out that for the particular run environment. That's how they do those adjusted ratings. Is they look at the that season's run environment, and then they adjust everybody to an average. So they try to get everybody onto an equal footing. That's the whole point of sabermetrics, is to try to say, okay, like we have all these different factors across 100 years of baseball. So how can we level those out so that everyone is sort of quote unquote playing on the same playing field? And then we can actually judge between players. So Ronald Acuna would be like a guy who's a 9 batting runs from the 80s, from the 70s, from the 40s, from the 20s. So they may get there differently. He may hit more home runs, but they're going to be the same kind of run producer. They're going to be the same kind of offensive player. Just they may get there differently based off of how the era played. Were there more home runs or less home runs? Were there more triples or doubles, that kind of thing. So the quality of the player is going to be the same. The quantity of hits and results is going to change. What types of those things are going to change. But he should be equivalent. You should be able to match him up with players who are 9 batting runs players in 1940, and those players would be comparable. So that's the whole point of sabermetrics. So if you're wondering if on base is very good for like putting people on a level playing field across different eras, it's the whole point of the game, and it's the whole point of the statistics that I'm using. It's the whole point of creating, the roster sheet sets and the game engine charts that I did. You could buy 2 decades of 40s and 50s, and you could play the 40s and 50s against each other. You can do all kinds of things, because once you buy the roster sheet sets, you get 10 decades worth of seasons for $20, and you'll get every season just like this in its own season, and then you have all the players, and then they're listed out by team. And you can see I've just printed off a couple back to back to have all the players here. But you can see, we've got all the Brewers here. These are their starters first, and the relievers second. I did it by their role first, and then I did by total batters faced, which is over here. So you can see that it goes down on the total batters faced. So your most used to your least used. Same thing in the bullpen. Your most used to your least used players. So I'm trying to make it a little bit organized so that it helps you whenever you're looking at the teams, especially if they're teams you don't know. You can just look at that first relief pitcher and you can say, okay, he's got the most batters faced. So he's either a part-time starter or he was used the most out of the bullpen, which you can compare their games, how many games they got into and things like that. And you can see where that guy falls into those things. So the game is solid. The game has been around. It's the bestseller of all my games because I think it's just the best put together of all of them. And my favorite one to play, I think, is On Base. And really fast, really easy, but also has some depth to it, has some decision making to it. I love that it's open enough for me to just kind of create the narrative of the game and just be in the moment and create the narrative of whatever game is right in front of me, rather than having to worry about playing the game. I'm worried about, should I hit and run or should I play the infield in? So to me, that's what I want to do. I want to be a part of the game. I don't want to be figuring out, I want to be a part of the game on the field. I don't want to be figuring out the game on the table all the time. And I've got a lot of mental gymnastics I do in my regular work. When I come to the tabletop, I don't want to have to do a bunch of more analysis and all kinds of things like that. So for me, a game like this is light, sort of APA-like, Strat-like, where you can just get right into it and start rolling. You understand it after an inning or two. And it might feel like, man, there should be more here. But I think once you get into it, you'll realize that the players play true to life. There's a lot of relative accuracy to the game, just because they're all separated out by these categories. And so it's not a one-size-fit-all approach. It's also not a super granular approach either. So there's opportunity to kind of learn, okay, this role means this, and that'll speed up things just a little bit. But each of the categories is different enough that it's not like one thing has changed from one category to another. Multiple things have changed. So that's a little spice to the game as well. Okay, so that is my push. You can go to clarkandaddisongaming.com and you can find all of the games that I've produced. You can join the Facebook group. And when you join the Facebook group, you'll get sort of insight into what I'm doing. I have created a digital version of On-Base Baseball, kind of working on that. It's real generic right now, so you can input and change the pitcher, but you can't change the batter. So it's just kind of a generic batter batting out of this third column every time. So there's no fluctuations of good batters or bad batters. So now it's a matter of sort of getting players in there and building a roster and then pulling in that player, so to speak, so that you can have it go through a lineup, that kind of thing. So inching closer and closer to that. There aren't many mobile games that you can play for the tabletop. Out of the Park comes to mind. That's sort of tabletop baseball and sort of not. And at the Go, you can play. I don't know what it looks like on a mobile device. I've only played it on a desktop browser. But my game, you'll be able to play it mobile first. That's how I'm building it. As people have asked about desktop, but it'll play on any browser, but it's just sort of optimized for a mobile device at this point. But when you get more screen space, you can kind of move things around, make things bigger, which I haven't done yet. I want to get the game working so that you can play it on mobile. I played a game yesterday, and the Braves beat the Padres. I was just playing, just inputting their names and then playing like a pitcher from the number one column. And the Braves won 6-4. So that was a good game. And we'll see how it develops and how it plays out. But you basically have all these charts here. You have them on the screen. You roll the dice, and then there are lots of manual things that you can manipulate. And then there are a handful of automated sort of things. So you change the outs, but the innings are automatically, they'll automatically switch. The sides will automatically switch whenever there's 3 outs. And so just some different things are automated to kind of take that out of your hands. And then there are other things like manipulating the base runners on the base, manipulating the score and the hits and things like that are a little more tactile. I wanted to keep that in there. They're dice rolls, so when you click roll, it shows you the dice rolls. And you can click the dice rolls to get your error checks and things like that. So there are some parts of it that are manual that I didn't want it to just become some sort of click fest. So I don't like games like that where you just kind of roll and it does everything for you and you're like, oh, okay, that's what happened. But I like to manipulate the base runners. I like to do a little bit in the game because it just keeps me thinking about how many outs are there, what kind of strategy can I apply, who's up to bat, etc., etc. What's the game situation? And sometimes you just kind of zone out and you just start clicking, and that's never a fun part of it. In fact, when I played Out of the Park, I always did pitch by pitch. You can do the pitch by pitch, kind of on the play by play. And so I would always do the pitch by pitch because I just felt like it kept me in the game a little bit more than doing the at bat by at bat. I had to choose, in the moment, do I want to pitch around a guy or do I want to do this or that? So it just kind of felt like it kept me in the game a little bit more and kept me from zoning out. All right, that's it from here. Braves win 5-3 over the Marlins. Game 2 will be next of this NLDS, and again, I'm going to play out the entire division series, and then I'll go on to the Dodgers and the Brewers and play that one out, and then move over into the American League. So just kind of doing this thing one at a time. If you look on the channel homepage, you'll find the playlist for all of these games. I played through the entire 2023 playoffs, and Miami defeated Philadelphia. That's how they got here, and you can watch that series as well. Those are best of 3 in those wild card rounds, but we had four different series, and those have concluded. So we're moving on to the division series now. Game 2 will be up next. Braves won this one 5-3. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.